I went in for what was supposed to be a normal MRI scan, just a simple test, nothing serious, or at least that's what I kept telling myself. The hospital was quiet when I arrived, almost too quiet. The fluorescent lights above flickered every few seconds, casting cold white shadows across the walls. It was late, close to 9 p.m., and I was the last patient of the day. The receptionist barely looked up when I signed in. She slid a clipboard toward me and said, "They'll call you in soon." Her tone was flat, robotic. I sat down in the waiting area, the hum of the vending machine filling the silence. Everything about that place felt sterile and wrong, like time itself had stopped moving. After what felt like forever, a technician finally appeared from a hallway. He didn't say much, just gestured for me to follow him. His ID badge caught the light. "Eric." He led me down a narrow corridor lined with pale green tiles, the kind that looked like they hadn't been replaced in decades. When we reached the MRI room, I immediately noticed how cold it was. The air felt heavier in there, like something was pressing down on me. The machine stood in the center, massive, humming quietly like a sleeping beast. Eric handed me a gown and told me to remove anything metallic. He left me alone to change. When I was done, I climbed onto the narrow table, my heart pounding harder than I wanted to admit. Eric's voice came through the intercom as he stepped out. "Just stay still, all right? It'll take about 15 minutes. If you need anything, use the panic button." I tried to laugh a little to calm myself down. 15 minutes. Easy. The table began to move, sliding me slowly into the tube. The ceiling got closer, the walls of the machine surrounding me until I couldn't move an inch. The hum grew louder. Then came the knocking. Rhythmic, metallic, and precise. I closed my eyes and tried to focus on my breathing, but after a few minutes, something changed. The knocking stopped. Complete silence. I opened my eyes, confused. I was expecting the usual noises, the beeps, the whirring, but there was nothing. I waited, thinking maybe the machine had paused. That's when I heard it. A voice. It wasn't from the intercom, it was inside the tube. "Can you hear me?" it whispered. I froze. The voice was soft, female, trembling, like someone struggling to speak through static. "Hello?" I whispered back, even though I knew I shouldn't have. No answer, just a faint breathing sound that didn't belong to me. I pressed the panic button. Nothing happened, no response, no movement. I called out again, louder this time. "Eric! Hello? Can someone hear me?" Still nothing. That's when the hum returned, but it sounded different now, deeper, slower, like it was coming from inside my head. The walls of the tube began to feel smaller. I could see faint reflections of light dancing along the inside, almost like shadows moving just beyond the surface. Then the intercom crackled to life. "Okay, this next scan will take about 15 minutes, said the technician's voice. But something was wrong. The voice didn't sound like Eric anymore. It was distorted, almost hollow. "Wait." I tried to speak, but the machine began to move again, locking me in place. I couldn't move my arms or legs. The pressure around my chest grew heavier. My heart started racing as the light inside flickered again. Then, through the narrow opening near my feet, I saw something. A figure standing in the observation room. It wasn't moving, just standing there, staring through the glass. I couldn't make out the face. The light above it was dead. I blinked, and it was gone. The sound of the knocking returned. Faster this time. Loud. Unnatural. Like something inside the machine was slamming against the walls. I screamed for help, but the noise swallowed my voice. The timer on the small display above me suddenly changed. It no longer said 15 hours. It now read 6 hours, 6 hours. I stared at it, thinking maybe it was a glitch, but then it started counting down. 5:59:59, 5:59:58. The lights inside the machine flickered again, and for a split second, I saw something reflected on the smooth white surface. A face. My face. But it was wrong. Pale, twisted, eyes black like empty sockets. I thrashed against the straps, trying to move to get out, but the table wouldn't budge. I felt warmth trickle down my cheek. I thought I was bleeding, but when I wiped it, it felt cold, almost like condensation. Then the voice came back, whispering closer now. "Don't move. It sees you." I stopped breathing. What sees me?" I whispered back. No response, just silence, deep, crushing silence. A faint tapping started again, not from the machine this time, from above my head, like fingernails scraping the inside of the tube. I closed my eyes, praying it would stop, but it didn't. The scraping turned into dragging, slow and deliberate, like something crawling just inches from my face. Then, all at once, the machine shut off. The hum stopped. The lights went black. For a moment, I thought the power had gone out, but then I realized something else. The room wasn't just dark, it was gone. I could no longer hear the ventilation, the intercom, or even the faint electric buzz that always fills hospital rooms. The only thing I could hear was breathing, heavy, raspy breathing, right next to my ear. I screamed, pressing the panic button again and again, but there was still no response. Then, just as suddenly as it vanished, the light came back on, but not the same way. Everything was tinted red. The room looked different, older. The paint was peeling, the walls were cracked, and the glass in the observation window was shattered. And there was no one there. The intercom crackled again, and this time it whispered, "We're not finished yet." The machine started moving backward, pulling me out slowly. My entire body was shaking. When I finally slid out of the tube, the room around me looked abandoned, like it hadn't been used in years. The equipment was dusty, and the computer monitors were dark. I stumbled to my feet and rushed out, yelling for someone, anyone, but the hallway was empty. The lights flickered, and the air smelled like rust and decay. My clothes, the gown, even the floor beneath my feet felt cold and damp. When I finally made it back to the reception area, it was empty too. The desk, the chairs, everything was covered in a thin layer of dust. There was no sign of life anywhere. Then I saw something that made my stomach twist. The wall clock. It wasn't 9:30 anymore. It was 3:17 a.m. Somehow, I had been in that room for 6 hours. I ran outside into the parking lot, but even there, something was wrong. The night was dead silent. The streetlights flickered one by one as I moved toward my car. My hands were still trembling when I tried to unlock the door. When I looked up at the hospital windows, I saw it. The MRI room, faintly glowing red. And in the reflection of the glass, I saw myself, still lying inside the machine. Then the light went out. I haven't been back since. And sometimes, late at night when everything's quiet, I swear I can still hear that same faint knocking, like something trapped inside, waiting to be let out.